Rebecca, can you hear me?
Pulse is weak. Get the crash cart.
Her pressure is dropping. Move. Yeah.
I am very sorry, Daniel.
You are a very terrible woman. I never forgive you. I never forgive you. I cursed the day I met you.
There are mistakes people make and recover from. There are mistakes people regret for years. And then some mistakes become lifelong wounds. This was one of them. Grace was the only child of her parents. Growing up, she watched her mother suffer in ways no wife should ever suffer. Her father, Patrick, had once been a responsible man. He worked in a company, earned a decent salary, and provided for his family. Life was peaceful. Every evening he returned home carrying gifts for little Grace. Sometimes it was biscuits, sometimes it was sweets. Sometimes it was nothing more than a warm embrace. To Grace, her father was her hero. Then one afternoon, everything changed. Patrick lost his job. The company shut down one of its branches and many workers were laid off. At first, he remained hopeful. He promised his wife he would find another job. Rebecca, his wife, encouraged him. She believed in him. She stood by him. But months passed. No job came. The rejection letters kept coming. The frustration began eating him alive. Slowly, Patrick started drinking. What began as a bottle after a difficult day became several bottles every day. Soon he spent more time in bars than searching for work. Rebecca became the breadwinner. She woke up before sunrise. She returned home exhausted. She paid the rent, she bought food, she paid school fees. She carried the family on her shoulders. Yet instead of appreciating her sacrifices, Patrick became worse. One day, Rebecca discovered something that broke her heart completely. Her husband was cheating. The little money she worked herself to exhaustion to earn was being spent on another woman. She cried all night, not because of the money, but because the man she had sacrificed everything for had betrayed her. Still, she stayed, for Grace. Years later, Patrick died after his health deteriorated from years of alcohol abuse. Rebecca buried him with tears in her eyes, not because she had forgotten his mistakes, but because she remembered the man he used to be. After the burial, she sat Grace down. She held her daughter's hands tightly, and she planted a lesson that would eventually destroy another family. Never trust a man completely with money. Always keep your own money. No matter how much you love your husband, never tell him everything you have. Grace listened carefully. Those words became part of her soul. She never forgot them. Years later, she met Daniel. Daniel was everything her father was not. He was hardworking, kind, responsible, loving. The type of man who would rather go hungry than watch his family suffer. They fell deeply in love. Their marriage was beautiful. Whenever Daniel received his salary, his first thought was his family. He bought groceries before buying clothes for himself. He made bills before spending on luxuries. He loved Grace sincerely. A few years later, they welcomed 2 children, a son, and then a daughter named Amanda. Amanda became the light of their home. The little girl adored her father. Every evening, she waited by the gate. The moment she saw Daniel returning from work, she would run toward him screaming, "Daddy!" Daniel would lift her into the air. She would laugh so hard her tiny body shook. Those moments made all his struggles worth it. Unknown to Daniel, Grace had been hiding something since the beginning of their marriage. She had 2 bank accounts. One account he knew about. The other was completely secret. Whenever she received bonuses, business profits, gifts or savings, she deposited them into the hidden account. Year after year, the money grew. Whenever Daniel asked about their financial situation, she lied. Whenever he asked if she had savings, she lied. Whenever he discussed future investments, she lied. Not because Daniel had ever mistreated her, not because he had ever stolen from her, not because he was irresponsible, but because she was afraid of becoming her mother. Or so she thought. Then disaster arrived. Daniel lost his job. The news came without warning. One minute he was employed. The next minute, he was carrying a cardboard box containing his office belongings. He drove home in silence. His hands trembled on the steering wheel. He didn't know how he would tell his family. That night, he sat on the edge of the bed and cried. Not because he feared poverty, but because he feared failing the people who depended on him. From that day, he searched tirelessly for work. He submitted applications everywhere. He attended interviews. He traveled from one city to another, but nothing came. Their savings began disappearing. One bill after another. One expense after another. Still, Daniel fought on. Then Amanda became sick. At first, it seemed like a simple fever. The family wasn't worried. Children got sick all the time. But Amanda's condition worsened rapidly. The energetic little girl stopped playing. Her laughter disappeared. She became weak, then weaker. Soon she could barely sit up by herself. Daniel rushed her to the hospital. Doctors conducted tests. The results were frightening. Amanda needed urgent treatment. The doctor looked directly at them. If treatment starts immediately, her chances are very good. Those words filled Daniel with hope. Then the bill arrived. The amount was far beyond what he had left. But Daniel refused to give up. For days he ran from one place to another. He borrowed, he begged, he pleaded. He sold personal belongings. He skipped meals. He walked long distances to save transport money. Each night he returned to the hospital exhausted. Amanda would smile weakly whenever she saw him. "Daddy, did you bring my chocolate?" Even when his heart was breaking, he smiled. "Tomorrow, my princess." Meanwhile, Grace sat beside her daughter's bed, carrying a secret capable of changing everything. The hidden account contained more than enough money, enough to cover every hospital bill, enough to begin treatment immediately, enough to save Amanda. Yet she hesitated. Every night she called her mother. Every night her mother gave the same advice. If your husband discovers your money, things will change. Don't do it. Grace listened and delayed. One more day, then another, then another. Amanda grew weaker. One afternoon, Amanda grabbed her mother's hand. Her tiny voice was barely audible. "Mummy, am I going to die?" Grace froze. The question pierced her heart. She forced a smile and said no. But deep down, fear was swallowing her. The next morning, Amanda's condition became critical. Doctors rushed around desperately. Machines beeped loudly. Nurses moved quickly. Daniel stood outside the room, praying and crying. For the first time in his life, he felt completely helpless. Then the doctor emerged. The expression on his face said everything. Amanda was gone. Daniel's world collapsed. Grace screamed. She threw herself on the floor. She held her daughter's lifeless body. She kissed her cold forehead repeatedly, begging, crying, apologizing. But Amanda could no longer hear her. For hours, Grace cried until she nearly lost consciousness. And all the while, one truth tortured her. The money was still sitting untouched in her account. The money had never been the problem. Her fear had been the problem. Her secrecy had been the problem. Her decision had been the problem. And now her daughter was dead. A few days later, consumed by guilt, Grace confessed everything to Daniel. Every secret, every lie, every hidden naira. Daniel stared at the account balance. His hands began shaking. The amount was more than enough. Far more. Enough to save Amanda several times over. The room became silent. The silence was more painful than any scream. Daniel realized his daughter had not died because they were poor. She had died because her mother chose secrecy over trust. A single tear rolled down his face. Then another. Then another. Without saying a word, he stood up and walked away. Grace cried and begged him to stay. but Daniel could not even look at her. The image of Amanda's smiling face haunted him. The image of her asking for chocolate haunted him. The image of her tiny body in the hospital haunted him. Most of all, the knowledge that she might still be alive haunted him. And as he walked away from his marriage, Grace finally understood something. The money she had spent years protecting had cost her the one thing she could never replace: her child. If you were Daniel, could you ever forgive Grace? Your daughter died while the money to save her was sitting untouched in your wife's secret account. Would you forgive her and try to heal together? Or would that betrayal be impossible to overcome? Comment. Forgive or leave, and explain why.